Hi, this is Steven Kramarz, President of Intelliversity, and we have with us today Andy Hibbs and George Eiskamp of a new company, fairly new company, called Ground Metrics. It's a really, really interesting team and an interesting company, which we'll get into in a minute. What I want to remind the audience of is that this is a training video for entrepreneurs and investors. It is not a solicitation or an offer to sell securities. So in that light, what I'd like to do is introduce Andy and George, and what I'd like to do is begin by having each of you give a 30-second elevator pitch, as if you're talking to a relative that has never heard of what Ground Metrics does, and tell us what Ground Metrics does in your own words.
We are commercializing advanced electromagnetic sensor technology for oil, mineral, and geothermal exploration and production. We are using cutting-edge proprietary technology to give us an advantage against the competition, and we'll be selling directly to the oil, mineral, and energy companies.
Okay. Andy?
So in 10 years, our capacitive electrode technology will completely replace the existing galvanic electrodes worldwide and in essentially every geophysical application. And in addition, it's going to increase the market for electric sensing by about 10 to 1,000 times. That's what we expect.
Yeah, thank you. Now, obviously, you can see the difference in the business background and the technical background. George is the CEO, and Andy is the CTO, or Chief Technical Officer. What's interesting about this company is that in presentations to the Tech Coast Angels, they received an almost unanimous interest level from the investors that were present. That doesn't mean that they're going to actually achieve unanimous investment, but it indicates that there's something very unique going on here. And I wanted everyone in the audience to find out why that's happening, and what you can do to maybe be a little bit more like this company, like Ground Metrics. You don't have to introduce electromagnetic sensors that improve the likelihood of finding oil or minerals, but that's what they do. But you can do whatever you do. So let me ask you this question, gentlemen. Why does this company matter to you personally? You know, besides the making of a great deal of money, why does it matter to you personally?
Sure, well that's always important, but this is an energy. Energy's big, and I think that with increasing demand from developing countries, that we're going to see some very interesting economic and geopolitical shifts worldwide in the coming years. And so I think it'll be exciting to be a part of that.
Okay, Andy?
Well, from a technology perspective, it's a great opportunity to get something into the real world that's actually used worldwide in practical situations. And there aren't that many opportunities to do that, but this is really one of them.
Okay, great. You've obviously been out there trying to raise funds for a couple of months now, right? You had your Tech Coast Angels experience and some other experience. What has the experience of raising funds been like so far for you, honestly?
Really, we've been pleasantly surprised. So I've been part of raising funds before, and it's always been pretty grueling, and that's sort of how it's known to be, right? You have to go out and pitch a bunch of people and work to get in the door, and then go through due diligence and everything. And we really thought that for this sort of play, for an energy and natural resource play, that we were not in the right area to be able to raise around. We figured we would need to go to Houston, Utah. Andy pointed out we were talking about Norway even to be able to do this. We decided to start locally to start getting our pitch down, and also to see if maybe there was a chance, if there's some interest locally. And I know that the investors are savvy here and would get it, but I didn't know if they would be comfortable writing a check, making an investment in a space that they're probably not that familiar with. And it's going well. I think we're on track to close around locally. So that's what we'd like to do.
Yeah, there's been tremendous interest, which is very good for us. It's a green kind of venture when you have this much interest. But to be honest, George is the one doing all the work on this front, so I haven't had to do a bit too much in front of people so far. I'm just the second.
Well, you bet on George. How's
Yeah.
that bet going so far?
It's going great. I'm very happy with it. Very, very pleased the way things are going.
Very, very good. So the mystery is what is it that you're doing that's working? You could say, well, the oil and gas industry is a huge business, or the gold and platinum and so on business is a huge business, and that's what's interesting. But there's got to be something else. What do you think? What are you doing right that's working in terms of getting investor interest?
I think it's a combination of the space, right? Energy is huge. It's a huge in terms of market size and potential opportunity. And we have a good play with the technology. So I think we meet the prerequisites to get the interest. Can you make a lot of money? Can you defend your position? How risky is the venture? I think we do well there, but I think that really the difference maker is we have put together a very diverse team that has relevant experience and works well together. And I think that goes a long way from the investor's mind, because it comes down to execution, and it's the people that are executing.
Well said. Andy?
Yeah, I think from the investor's point of view, we've managed to explain it in a concise way in the terms that they like to see, and concise and accurate, both at the same time. So I think we've stayed on message. It's been a fairly easy message to tell, I think, which has made it better, but we definitely have managed to explain it in terms of the terms the investors like to hear. It makes sense to them. And that they've really immediately responded to it then. I think that's been time well spent. George has honed that very well, I think.
I think that's a very key factor too. I agree. All right, we'll take a minute break.